My name is Sophia, and in my group I had Lucas, Reese, and Caitlin, and our film's title is Eye to Eye. I was supposed to be one of the editors and one of the camera operators for this project. First, I will read you our treatment. So the name we came up for our film is Eye to Eye. Our tagline for this film is L is for the way you lie to me. Our logline for this film is, stuck in a stagnant marriage, Angela sees only one way out, even if it means getting her hands dirty. Our character descriptions, we have Angela, who's the main character, and she's troubled by the one-way system of life. Angela yearns to break free from the cycle of bills, arguments, and failed relationships. Life's hardships have turned her sour. Her relationship with her husband has spoiled like old milk. Her incentives in life have shifted from being a family to running away just like that. Yet she is unsettled by how she is to do that, but she does in an unthinkable way. Then we have Mike, Angela's husband. Mike takes a passive approach to life. He is aware something isn't right, but the thought of confronting the situation is, frankly, too much effort. If there's a food on the table, coffee in his cup, and a cigarette in his mouth, he's a happy man. He seems to have gotten too comfortable in his married life and has forgotten that attention and affection is vital. He'll figure that out the hard way. Our synopsis for this film is, Angela and Mike have a bland marriage, barely ever seeing eye to eye. Angela does not like how her marriage came to be, feeling like she wakes up and goes to bed in a prison cell. Angela is actively trying to turn her life around for the better, and for her, a widow's life is the lesser of two evils. With the newfound independence, Angela is set for an easy life when she leaves everything behind. But will this act leave someone turning in their grave? For style and composition, we decided to take a lot of inspiration from Wes Anderson. My group really liked how Wes Anderson films are very symmetrical and the colors are, quite bright. But when it comes to the colors of our film, we wanted to do more muted colors, really keeping it to only a few colors, because we want the colors in the film to reflect how our main character Angela feels, and she's stuck in this monotonous day-to-day life, and we don't want the colors to reflect something different. So for the composition, we would like to take inspiration from Wes Anderson films and do very symmetrical shots. But when it comes to color, we'd rather do muted, more dull colors, like some darker blues, some like blacks and grays, even some like darker pinks or browns. So anything that makes the shot in the film feel dull. We have two characters, Angela and Mark. They're husband and wife, and their marriage has become very monotonous. Mark is quite ignorant of his wife, and Angela just feels like she's in a prison with her day-to-day life. So one day, Angela decides that she needs to find a way out of this marriage. And she doesn't know how, but she just knows she needs to get out. So her and Mark are just in their living room, going once again through their monotonous day, and Angela decides that this will be when she decides to make her move. After Mark constantly criticizes his wife and is rude to Angela and yells at Angela, she decides to make his last cup of coffee for him. But what Mark doesn't know is that Angela poisons the coffee, and then Mark drinks it and then dies. And that's Angela's way out of this marriage. So that's our story outline. On to the script. We start in the interior living room day. We fade in to see Angela and Mark sitting adjacent to each other. Angela is a petite lady, one with very little facial expression, her sunken eyes hiding behind her ashy blonde hair. Mark spreads his legs across the sofa, holes in his socks and a scowl plastered across his face. A washed-out color palette merely complements their sour complexions. Each has their heads buried into a newspaper. Silence hugs the air, momentarily giving way to a harsh rustle of paper. Slow zoom out. Angela peeks over her book to look at Mark, who's staring intently at his newspaper, paying absolutely no attention to his wife. Angela, what's in the news today, honey? Mark doesn't look up from his paper, nor does his gruff expression change. Wouldn't you like to know? Says Mark. Angela returns her gaze to her book while Mark continues to ignore her and read his paper, almost acting as if she weren't in the room. Non-diegetic ticking noise signifies their long relationship and the uncomfortable feeling in the room. Mark sits quietly and swiftly takes a sip of his coffee before returning the cup to its table. Angela notices this and once again tries to create a conversation to break the visible tension in the room. Angela: "How's the coffee?" Mark: "It's shit. I didn't realize that you were this incompetent that you couldn't even make a proper cup of coffee." Mark turns the page on his newspaper and continues reading and ignoring his wife. Angela: "Sorry, dear. I'll try harder next time." Mark grumbles and mutters something under his breath that is unintelligible. He then takes a final sip from his coffee. Angela looks over her newspaper sheepishly to Mark's empty coffee cup. Angela: "Another brew?" Mark looks up for a split second, exacerbated, and doesn't make eye contact. Mark: "What do you think? Honestly, you aren't half as thick these days." Angela doesn't react. She simply complies by picking up his cup and lethargically walks into the kitchen. Cut 2. Interior kitchen day. Long shot. Angela stands over the kettle as steam caresses her face. The silhouette of her nimble body moves slowly to reach for the cup. The rhythmic sound of the spoon whirring against the side of the cup lingers for an uncomfortable amount of time. Non-diegetic static sound increases and Angela gets visibly distressed. She starts to get sweaty and pulls at her blouse collar. Her breathing becomes heavy and fast-paced. Angela swiftly picks up the cup of coffee and the spoon falls to the floor. The non-diegetic sound stops. She walks out of the kitchen back into the front room. Cut 2. Interior living room day. Angela stands over Mark as he looks up. He impatiently gestures for her to put the cup down. Angela: "This is the last cup of coffee I make for you. Make your own next time." Mark scoffs. Cut 2. Angela sits back down and lifts her book. As we focus on her eyes reading from side to side, there is a diegetic sound of a cup smashing on the floor. Cut 2. A close-up of Mark's hand dangling from the sofa above the floor covered in broken ceramic. We see a white powder substance mixed with the coffee. The non-diegetic static sound plays. Cut 2. Angela continues reading as the non-diegetic sound grows in volume. Fade to black. And that's our script for Eye to Eye.